Mm-hmm. Yes, let's do it. All right. Excellent. We'll go from there. Thank you. I will also ask, sound quality. Am I fine or am I clear? It's scratchy. Good to know. Thank you. Is that because of internet, do you reckon, or because of quality? Sounds like internet. Great. I'm sorry, Scratchy. I'll just turn off all the internet things I'm doing, just to minimize all the internet. Okay, closing Spotify, closing Slack. I close down all I can. Perfect. Oh, we can hear only me. Oh.
Everyone, and welcome back to your favorite fucking podcast, Between Technical Difficulties. My name is Alex, and I am joined here by my co-host, Skiva. Skiva, how the fuck are you, man?
Better now that we're actually live and everything's going well. I've spent the past 2 days moving, and I've worked my ass off in the past 2 days, man. And I want to throw a quick shout out to Matthew and Ricky of Low Budget Movers for helping me out. I could not have done this without you guys.
Low Budget Movers. Apparently they were like, oh my god, you have a podcast? Like, will you please shout us out?
Hell yeah.
What's up,
Good
boys?
guys. Good guys.
What's up, boys? And what's up, boys, to the dudes in the chat. We've got Aspen Darkfire, Glitch Fandango, Mr. Trinidad, who's, I'm glad he didn't wait to start smoking before we got started, because holy shit. Paradise Decay is hanging out. Zero Cool, what's up, dude? Joachim Alt VR, always a pleasure to see you as well, my friend. Risky Business is also here, just in the nick of time. And in the wings, you've already heard him chatting with us, so like whatever. It's not like we're even revealing him at this point. Let's bring in our today's guest, Tom Fisk of Virtual Perceptions. Hello, sir.
Whoa, full screen.
Hello. It's good to see you all.
It is
between
great to see you.
Technical difficulties, of course.
So, we got started and we connected our call and Tom couldn't hear us, but like we checked our mic on our side and like we can hear ourselves and like everything looks good. And it's like,
and Discord's tests said
Discord said everything was fine. Well, yesterday I was fucking around. AD will know about this. I changed my Discord to push to talk for like a couple of hours and that was it. So it was entirely my fault. So you guys all waited 25 minutes for the show to start because I changed to push to talk yesterday for a while.
For the first time, It's not my fault.
Yeah,
it's
right. I know. And thanks, Tom, for like being willing to like take the brunt of the blame there while we were getting up and running. Because for a while we're like, dude, it's not us, motherfucker, it's you. So fix it. So thanks for rolling with the punches, dude.
No, it's fine. We've all done it before. Everyone's had tried to join a call and got frustrated at the entire world for not being able to join a chat. I think everyone's done it.
Well, thanks. I, like I said earlier, I don't think I'm going to lose any sleep over it, but it was frustrating for a minute, and I'm glad that we're here now. You know, like now we're hanging out, and
I was too tired to be frustrated, which was nice.
Normally, Skeeve is freaking out.
Yeah,
like, when we're like 5 minutes late, he's like dripping, and he's like, and like losing it. And I'm usually the one that's keeping it cool, But this time, because he's been so busy, he's just like, yeah, man, it's cool, it's fun. So we also got Grumpy Duck in the house. We got Delirium Drew, who is way too good at Beat Saber here, and we've got Bertaru. Who's that sexy AF geezer in the back? That's what he wants to know. I think he's talking about you, Tom.
Oh, geez, I am definitely not a sexy geezer. I don't have the term geezer in many, many years.
Well, dude, thank you for joining us on the Between Realities ship today. We are excited to have you. You are the creator of Virtual Perceptions Online. It's a website, right?
It is. So what it is I started Virtual Perceptions in 2016 as a little blog. I just quite liked following the industry, particularly in the United Kingdom. It's evolved for many years, but the latest incarnation is a weekly newsletter I run called The Immersive Wire, which is where I kind of do a digest of all my news and distribute it to all the VR and AR professionals in our industry. There's a lot of good content out there, but there's not enough compiling, I feel, put it all in one place so people can see all the great work happening. So that's been kind of my project for the last almost 10 months or so, and it's been a nice ride, actually. It's been nice to meet some new friends and make new friends as well for it as well.
That's cool. I wonder because when I thought about making content and contributing to the community, it almost seemed like I didn't have a choice other than YouTube. It was just it felt like YouTube was the thing to do. And you are primarily sending emails to people, right?
Yes.
So are there a lot of
old school?
Yeah, there are a lot of networking opportunities. How are you connecting with people via a newsletter? How does that grow? What does that look like?
Well, the con is YouTube is such a powerful platform because of the recommendation system. You find people a lot more easy because you get recommended by the system, and that's why you could in theory grow very quickly if you're optimized well enough. And newsletters don't have that in the slightest. It's one way. There's no system recommending you anywhere apart from word of mouth, and it's very difficult to grow in that way. But the benefit is arguably you have a closer relationship via an email than via YouTube subscription. Partly because YouTube, for some reason, if you're subscribed, don't show videos sometimes. So if you're listening to this right now, for example, do click on the bell button because that's the only way you'll get recommended. And the other thing I found is a lot of research I found is if there's greater value having an email subscriber than any other kind of subscriber. So it's more valuable than being a Twitter follower or being a Facebook liker or in theory a YouTube subscriber. I think that's out of date now. I think being a YouTube subscriber is a huge deal. But
I'll tell you, I like opening my inbox and seeing that newsletter in there and just being able to scroll down through all the stories, right? Instead of having to go and hunt everything down myself. It's great. It's written very well. The format is fantastic. It's a great newsletter. So go down in the description, guys, and sign up for this, right? I mean,
well, especially because when do you ever get relevant emails? Right. Most of the time you get an email, it's a notification or some follow up or some spam or an order confirmation or just a bunch of bullshit. It is cool that you're distributing something that maybe somebody could actually look forward to when they open up their email, once a week or however often these go out. How often do they go out?
They go out every Wednesday, once a week. And I guess another point I would say is it's very much a very business-orientated newsletter, and for a lot of business people, they kind of much prefer keeping track of stuff in their inbox rather than keeping track on YouTube while working. Right. Although while working from home, I have YouTube on when working. I think a lot of people do at the moment. It's a casual thought. But yeah, yes, do subscribe to the newsletter if you're interested in a digest of sorts. rather than creating content myself, I do write long form articles, and I have published a book. But a lot of this is like basically celebrating what other people are doing. I'm like the kind of person going, look, this person's so cool, support them. That's my role, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of our role too, right? Yeah. We're like, awesome hardware, awesome software. Look what all these cool people are doing. Look what these content creators are doing. Look what these development companies are making.
Everybody, Tom Fisk is so cool. You should go and support him.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Mateo311 is here. What's up, dude? Gamertag VR, the homie here as well. Thank you guys for taking a minute to drop by.
What's up, guys?
So Tom, have you first of all, I wanted to mention one of the things I like about your stuff is like the editorial perspective that you give, it's obvious that you know your shit. And a lot of times people do a lot of like reporting, and they're like, hey, this is what happened. But I appreciate your perspective when it's included as well. So thanks for doing that.
No, thank you. I try to add like a sense of humor to it, for better or worse. I have a girlfriend who tells me whether like it's actually funny or not. Most of the time it's not, so she helps me make sure it's funny. And she just gave me a look just now.
Did she say that wasn't funny?
yeah, that was an example of one that
pretty much
I wouldn't have done. Radio Runt's saying hi, Skiba.
Oh, what's up? What's up, guys?
And Pepine Willikins, what's going on, yo?
Yeah.
So have you had a lot to look up this week, man? It's been, I guess it's been an exciting week, digital CES, Digital Dreamland XR, which I was attending the whole time. Have you been covering it?
I have been covering it. There's been a lot of news that came out of CES and outside of CES as well. I assume in this show we're going to be going through some of the big announcements, aren't we? Because there's quite a few things which came out from the event.
Yeah, we're just rolling with the punches right now, but I figured that you would probably have some perspective to share with us.
I feel like there's so much that has been with CES going on. There's so much that was announced, and even before that, even like the week before CES, there was just a ton. People started really pumping out new product announcements and things going on. So in the VR industry, luckily, there's rarely a lack of things to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff being announced all the time, which is good. Yeah. It's the mark of the industry where there's lots of things happening, and it is a sign of growth. Speaking of growth, there's one news story I do want to talk about. Steam did announce their kind of 2020 summary of how many people were playing VR this year, and it was approximate. Like the growth rate was very high. We're talking like 32% year on year. Not including the sales of Half-Life Alyx, which made up an additional like 32% or something stupid like that for Steam.
Wow.
So I have a question for... I know it's a lot, but I do have a question for both of you, though. Is like the growth for VR within the Steam ecosystem like propelled organically via good content, or is it just pushed forward by big IPs such as Half-Life? Because on the one hand, you have a 32% growth rate, which is massive. But on the other hand, you have an additional 30% growth rate pushed by one game. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that Half-Life Alyx, any new Half-Life game is going to push the medium and really get people that wouldn't have had any interest to begin with on board. It's Half-Life, right? That's like, in my mind, that's really close to, to like a Mario IP or something, except they rarely make the Half-Life games. A company like that, they only make a Half-Life game when there is new technology that they're excited about. They don't really care that much about the sales. They could pump out a Half-Life game every year and make stupid amounts of money, but they don't, because they take a 30% cut on every video game in the world, right, that comes out on PC. So they don't have to. So they're just normally just sucking in money. But for them to come out and go, wow, VR is so amazing that we're going to bring back the Half-Life series and make it exclusive to virtual reality. Says huge amounts of things about this technology. To kind of go more broadly into your question, I think it's kind of a combination, right? Because I think the greatest growth of VR over the past couple of years has been the mobile market and the standalone market, with being the Quest and the Quest 2. And I think we're seeing some trickle of that, right, as people hook up via Oculus Link and virtual desktop and stuff like that, and they're using their quests to kind of to explore the PC realm, right? Because you got all these, if it were me, if I had tried the mobile headset for the first time and had never tried VR before, I would have been like, oh my God, this is amazing. I need to see what a PC can actually do with this, right? Because, I mean, you think about mobile stuff but you think about PC gaming and it's usually through the roof, best graphics, best experiences. So, I feel like I've said before that the Quest is kind of a gateway drug. And I think I think people are more and more starting to explore PC VR because of how well the mobile market's doing.
Well, and Half-Life Alyx is, like, to your point, when you compare it to Mario, like, if you have a Nintendo system, you have a fucking copy of Mario for it. That is all there is to it. So any PC or any VR headset that was even close to a PC in the world that existed last year got a copy of Half-Life Alyx. You know, like, it's like everyone screamed it from the rooftops. This is the best game you can have. It's the best VR experience out there. It's made by Valve. Like, any headset that existed got it, including, to your point, the quests and stuff. There are people who went out there and bought quests who found a way to play Half-Life Alyx because of all of the hype and all of that.
Yeah, so, whether they're like running a cloud computer and using virtual desktop to link up to it and play, maybe they don't have a PC. I mean, that one game alone makes it worth, investing in some kind of PC solution to play that game. And,
it's outside of the Steam ecosystem that those headsets, it's like, Oculus headsets that are running that shit and like Vive headsets that are running that, so, I don't know. I don't know if we answered this question or not.
I don't know. But I mean, there's so many different pieces to this, right? I mean, I feel like another thing that helped and hurt at the same time was the pandemic, right? Because all of a sudden people can't be together anymore, so they want to be virtually together. So now people are starting to get, they're starting to think, well, is VR a good way to be social without being together, right? Well, but at the same time, all the people that were sick made it so that headset production wasn't where it was before the pandemic. So all of a sudden, all these people wanted to buy VR headsets, but they were having a problem producing them. Yeah. Right. Well, so, I mean, it was kind of like everything kind of flopped.
I want to ask Tom because, when Half-Life came out in March last year, everyone thought that was the moment, right? Like that was the moment that is going to make VR it, and Tom has showed up with some numbers, like 33% growth as a whole for VR, and then Half-Life Alyx alone added another 30%. In your opinion, is that like, is it the moment or is it still short of it? Like, what was your feelings on like the impact that the game had?
Or could it have been the moment had headset production been able to keep up with demand?
Man, that's a hard question. Well, I don't like the idea of talking about a moment where VR explodes, because there's never been a moment. With all sorts of technological innovations, it's never been one moment. It's always been a gradual shift and change towards and building lots of bits and pieces. So with mobile didn't have you could point towards the iPhone moment 2007, I suppose. But in order to have that moment to begin with, you had to have all the components from the previous few decades to form together. Same goes with virtual reality. And I believe a component of the building the ecosystem of VR is the launch of great IPs, such as Half-Life, to push it forward. But I'm not in any way saying that all the great content of other people didn't play a role as well, because of course it did. If you go on the PlayStation VR, the best-selling titles are Beat Saber and Superhot, because of course they are. They're great games, and great games to push good systems. I just have to wonder what's going to be happening in the next year or so. And to quote Graham Wheeler from HTC, it's likely going to be an onslaught of all-in-one VR headsets, because it is the future.
Yeah,
it's just a question of what they look like.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. I mean, I feel like any headset maker right now is focusing on mobile, because that's where the money's at right now. That's what people want. People don't necessarily want to have some sick PC, right? I mean, it's one thing to run a flat game smoothly and nicely with higher graphic settings. It's another thing to render a complete world around you, and the frame rate that it takes to run a VR game, right?
You know, when I talk about adoption, I really do view it as like a parabola, you know, which if you don't know what parabola is, it's an exponent on a line graph. And when things grow exponentially, it starts off real slow and it stays close to the bottom line. And then it starts to catch on to that point where like the multipliers like really start adding up and the line goes and it fucking takes off. And that's the way I view VR. Like I can't help but feel like VR will have a similar effect with its adoption, right? Like we're on the parabola and I feel like we're starting to feel it go up, but I feel like, you know, it's going to explode. Like I really do. Like I feel like it's going to be exponentially adopted, like boom, like quick.
And you know what's funny? I feel like a lot of people, and I hear this all the time, especially on Twitter and just about anywhere, right? And people always compare a successful thing to an iPhone launch, right? Because iPhone was probably the biggest launch of any product to ever happen as far as how fast things grew, right? But like Tom was saying, it wasn't like there was no computing, no web stuff, and all of a sudden, boom, iPhone came out. Like when you really think about it, it was PCs, it was laptops, pagers, all this stuff, and then led up to that one product that was able to do all of these things great, and it was done very well, and it blew up. And people think, well, VR hasn't hit the growth rate that iPhones have, therefore it must not be a success. But they're not looking back like to all the things that had to come before, you know, all the way from the 60s when you know, personal computers, or well, when computers started, right? Because without all of that growth, you would never have the growth of the iPhone. So it's a horrible argument, and I see it all the time.
I don't like it either, and I wrote a whole article talking about why I hate the language, and I wrote an argument arguing that we should be talking about friction when it comes to virtual reality, and I think friction is the right word. The easier it is to enter VR, the more likely it is to hit an exponential growth rate. And I'm talking about user design, I'm talking about content accessibility, and I think that'll be the key driver. And I argue for the iPhone, the reason why it was so successful was that not just all the technology came before it coming together into one package, it's also because the user design was impeccable. Multi-touch completely blew anything else out of the water when that came out. But that's a side note, isn't it, compared to VR?
I totally agree with those points, and friction is the biggest thing. You know, I know a lot of people that have no interest in putting, you know, connecting a wire up to a computer, starting a game, going, oh, the audio's not working, going into your settings, messing with stuff, then going in and trying to adjust settings so everything runs smoothly. You know, there's a reason why the console market got so big. It's because you put in the disc, or now you just click on the game that you downloaded and it starts. There's no messing with anything. There's no going in and trying to figure out why your sound doesn't work. You know what I mean? You start it and you play. And that's it. Yeah, and that's what the Quest, and that's what the Quest does. And that's why the Quest is exploding. And you know, unfortunately, we have shitty Facebook behind it that's doing a lot of unethical things behind the scenes. But at the same time, they went through and they made a really good product. You know, and one of the things that really bums me out is, you know, I have a hero. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on, I just screwed up the view here. Okay, so one of my heroes was, and kind of still is, John Carmack, and I think I have a thing here with John Carmack, and it bums me out a little because I feel like John Carmack kind of went to the dark side a little bit, right? Like I've admired the guy his entire career. From Doom, you know, through Rage, and through all of these bars he set throughout the PC gaming world, And and now he mentioned something on Twitter the other day saying he was talking about the growth of Oculus and asking people for opinions. And I mentioned to him, I'm like, when are we not going to need to tie this to social media? Like, why is this? Why do the two have to be together? And like 2 days after that, I see this article that I have up here on the screen. Carmack, Oculus Facebook login isn't going away. Company takes privacy extremely serious.
So first thing I want to say real quick before we go too far from it is Aspen Darkfire had a good thought that I wanted to share. And he says, did people know it was a moment when the iPhone came out, or does it seem like a moment now that we're looking back at it? Like in 5 years, we'll be like, the moment was Half-Life Alyx, but it's only after we look at a graph showing all these years that like we have that perspective. I think that's possible. I absolutely do think that's possible. And I wanted to.
And I agree with him.
Yeah, I like that perspective a lot. Now, about Carmack, I've only recently started following him, as a result of my endeavors in virtual reality. I mean, I've known who he is. I played Doom and all that. But, I've only really started following him recently. And I don't feel like this headline, like, shows that he is like going away. Like, I think he does know a lot. I think he knows more than he's able to share, and I do feel like he is a white knight wearing a few pieces of black armor in there, what I mean, where like he is doing what he can.
He's on the technical side.
He is.
He's doing great things technically, right?
And I feel like he is a straight shooter about this shit, like his talk in OC6, it was just Carmack talking, and he was just up there being like, we did not do what I hoped we would for Facebook. And he's the only person from that realm to even mention anything like that, to take a little bit of credibility for the situation that we're in, So I feel like when he's saying this is him being like, listen, I'm on the fucking inside. And trust me, I'm here. They actually do care about your privacy. Like we all just like, we hate them. We don't trust them. But there could be efforts being made.
He's also being paid by these guys, right? He's on their payroll. He's not going to come out to his company and go, look, they take it seriously, but they're selling your shit.
But would he come out and lie and give people a false sense of security?
No, because I think his perception is that from the other side of the desk.
What do you think, Tom?
What I think with all of that, it's complicated because we're talking about the politics of Facebook and user login, which is a sub-argument within the argument of the privacy settings within the Oculus system. I'll just point towards a news story from Germany where Germany doesn't like the fact that it requires a Facebook login for Oculus, which is why Germany's suing Facebook for that currently. We'll see where the direction goes with that lawsuit. I'm not a lawyer. I think it would be premature for anyone who's not a lawyer to comment on it. I'm just going to say it's happening. And then on the opinion of John Carmack, first of all, the guy who helped out make Doom also made virtual reality and is now working on space stuff. How cool can you be, right? He's on the
right? And artificial intelligence, and I mean, this guy is.
He also did like fucking jujitsu and shit, and he plays Beat Saber publicly 5 times a week. It's amazing.
He's a car guy. I mean, he's honestly one of the coolest guys I've ever. Yeah, he's amazing.
He's the shit.
Yep.
Yeah, and when it comes to, I believe that when it comes to the changes in the direction where Facebook is going, it's all management decision, and it's the case of the company to follow along what management wants. And management quite clearly has a vision of where it will go. One thing I will say is Mark Zuckerberg has a history of changing his mind once every few years on multiple different topics. I'm not going to chart all the ways he's changed his mind, but there are some articles online where on certain topics he just switches, and that's based on the conversation what the public wants changes. I do feel like we're going slightly off topic from VR though. I'll just link it back to virtual reality as a whole. You just have to consider that a company is made of thousands of employees, and the creation of all I want is a platform where creativity can be upheld and people can show their stuff. If that platform was there, then I ultimately would be happy. I just don't want to have platforms police it too strongly.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree.
What else has come out of this past week at CES that has you excited? Any announcements that you think deserve a little bit more attention?
Well, you know what sucks is there were a ton of great announcements, but because it's all virtual, no one can play with them. I spoke to a journalist, and the thing that's coolest about CES is the weird and zany shit that comes out of it. Like, there's a lot of like weird stuff that comes out of CES every year, which it ranges from cool to completely pointless, such as a IoT safe, where if your IoT doesn't work, then you lost everything forever. Like, there's no point. But what's up with this? Yes, there was some cool announcement about smart glasses, but no one got to play with them. They announced it. You saw a JPEG of the glasses, and you're like, fine, I'll take your word for it. So there's not much more people can do about it.
That does suck. You know, I spent all damn day yesterday in Altspace attending the Dreamland XR convention space, and it felt like a convention, dude. It was pretty cool, honestly. There was like a stand and I forget what the hell they call those things, like stand and repeat, I think, with a red carpet that I did some interviews in front of, and people were taking selfies in front of it. There was a couple of booths, one of which was a B Haptics booth, and the other one was a Cleanbox booth, and there was a chicken waffle booth, and I manned the booth for a while, you know, and it felt like I was manning a booth at a convention, because we had a 3D model of the tax suit there, and you could like step into it with your avatar and like fit your avatar into it, so it looked like you were wearing it, and people were taking selfies wearing it and stuff. And people couldn't try it, right? But they could see it, they could visualize it, and then they would come up and like turn to me and start asking questions, just like at a freaking convention, you know, like, and I was sitting there selling it, you know, like it was weird, you know, like we are starting to kind of like get to a point where we can start to do some of that stuff. Obviously hardware, you know, robots and all this crap, it's really hard to kind of give that same experience, but they tried, and I enjoyed myself, and there was a handful of moments where it really did feel like I was at a convention.
That's so cool, man. I really missed being at CES this year. Last year was so incredible. Just like you said, being able to try the technology, you know what I mean? And really go up and touch it and see it yourself, you know. And last year, actually, one of, you know, a really cool thing that we saw that we didn't actually get to try was Panasonic came up with these great little goggles that just look incredible. They're so small, but this year they added 6 degrees of freedom to this headset. So if you look at these, this is the smallest form factor VR I have really ever seen, and not only is it small form factor, but it's really cool looking. You know, me and Alex did get to go over and actually look at the glasses in real life, but now that there's 6 degrees of freedom, I mean, look at, if this doesn't show you the future, I mean, I don't know what it does. I mean, this is, you know, between this and the announcements we were getting from Lenovo about their AR glasses. I mean, and let me pull those up real quick. So Lenovo had a great pair of AR glasses that they are targeting mid-2021 for release. I mean, that's huge. This is such a big deal, I think, because so many companies now are dumping money into augmented reality and virtual reality, and this stuff is going to just hitting the market. I mean, this is stuff we can put on our face. I mean, you can get real glasses right now. Lenovo is a big player. They've done a lot of stuff in VR. They've done a lot of stuff in AR previously, and they're just a big company, man. They make great computers. They make great laptops, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with for this AR stuff. We see a picture here, but I mean, I want to try it. Right? What are your thoughts on?
No, I want to try it as well. There's so many different glasses I want to try on. When it comes to strategy as well, I find it interesting. Lenovo is very much enterprise. We help businesses, and we're going to help you with business. And while with Panasonic, they're interesting because they want to have their glasses used for sports events and the like, so you can watch sports by wearing these specs when you're in your room. And I think that could be really fun as well. Oh, and also, sorry, not just sports, events as well. So just general events, generally speaking, could be travel as well. So yeah, I do think there's a future for all these specs. It's just I want to try them, and I'm going to withhold all my judgment until I actually have them in my hands and on my face, and I can see them. Because, and as any person would say, they look very clunky and they look very thick, and it's not the style that a lot of people want. So I just have to question, like, if anyone would actually want them on their face. I also want to see. It's not like that CES Facebook wasn't at the event, mostly because they don't need to. They weren't there in the event. But I fully anticipate their glasses to come out probably in the summer. Ray-Ban is a common brand for the summertime, and they'll want to make a big slash. So they're probably going to release them during the summer alongside the Lenovo, probably.
I love Ray-Ban, and I think it's smart to work with a lot of these glasses companies that know how to make really nice glasses that are you know, like my Ray-Bans. I've stepped on them, I've sat on them, you know, and then I have a 6-year-old that likes to destroy everything, you know, and they make good stuff. So it's good to see these companies working together to come up with technology like this. And you know, with the Panasonic thing, right? It's, you know, they are a little big and clunky, but you can see, if, you know, I wish I had a picture of a valve index on here, right? Because if you look at a valve index, and then because it's a big thick headset, and then you look at something like this Panasonic, these glasses right here, I mean, you can just see like the timeline of how this is going to go, right to the point where eventually, you know, I'll be like, yo, check out my new headset, man. I'm gonna jump into Half-Life Alyx real quick. Whoa, you know what I mean? Like, we're not there, but you can see the steps that are being taken to get there, and these companies are taking this seriously.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and to Tom's point, like, you really do have to try things before we can even get close to excited about it. Because when we went to the Pico booth, I was there excited to try the Pico Neo Pico Neo XLI, and we did, and then we, like, as a side note, cruised over to these 3DOF like glasses form display that they had. No, not that. The
Pico ones, the white ones.
That shit blew my mind.
Yeah,
like, I was not even there to see the glasses. I was there to see the Pico Neo, and I was like, okay, this is cool, thanks guys. And then I cruise over to the glasses, and I put them on, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is so nice. You know, so to your point, like, you really do have to try it before you know, because I was excited about Pico Neo, thinking maybe it's something that people could get instead of a Quest or whatever, but after I tried it on and I took it for a spin, I was like,
But the foveated rendering that they showed using the Tobii eye tracking was a big deal. How the frame rate went through the roof with foveated rendering on, right?
I see the potential there, but that's not something that I can, like, run home and start taking advantage of.
Right.
Yeah. So you got to try this shit.
Yeah, you have to try. So, but this is why when you mention your space example, it's such a good example of, like, a center presence when you're walking around and talking to people about it. That's cool, and I would love to see more events do that kind of stuff. Yeah,
you got to find a way to incorporate the demo.
Yeah, and you know, this being virtual reality tech, there's, you know, we gotta perfect expos in VR.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You have to be able to go into a room that your friend is attending, and you have to be able to go find that friend instead of going, oh, I'm in instance number 300 of 9,000. You know what I mean?
That was
and
the
I can't
huge
see
problem,
you.
dude. That was the huge problem this week for Dreamland and in Altspace, because there's, like, a lot of people all trying to go into the same space. And like, when I did a panel about wearables and haptics, and I, like, couldn't get into the room because the room was full. And then I get into another instance, but that instance, like, didn't let me go up on the stage with the other people who were, like, room owners, you know, and they didn't see me. And there was, like, a bunch of bullshit. There's also, it's like, the point I'm making is that Altspace is not a platform that was designed to hold conventions. You know, like, they pulled it off. They wove all these worlds together, portaled them all together, and, like, made something happen. And it was really cool. But it was the issues were glaring. It was like, we really do need a platform that's designed to hold a few hundred people in a space, you know, and
or a few thousand,
you know, and if you have to instance it out, it has to be in a way that is seamless. So, like, I can easily shift into the one that holds the people who I'm there to see or something, you know. But I do think that there really is a need for a space, like some kind of program that really specializes in hosting something of a bit of a larger scale.
Yeah, and there were one or two events I tried to do that last year, particularly in the arts film festivals. Venice Film Festival attempted to do that in VR chat. Rainlands Film Festival actually did that as well, again in VR chat. London Film Festival developed its own kind of instance. I should declare that I worked on London Film Festival as a freelance publicist for that event. And that was really good as well. It was quite fun to attend online. And we'll see more of that over this year as well, as people kind of embrace these virtual events.
Mm-hmm. And what a great kind of event to go into in VR. A film festival is absolutely perfect because you can make the screen as big as you want it. 3D is not a problem. 3D works better than in any real movie theater. You know what I mean?
I don't mean to interrupt, but it doesn't actually work that way. The way it happened was you're in a virtual space, such as VR chat. You walk around. You can see some trailers in a 2D space, for example. But in the case of London Film Festival, you go to a little pod, and then it's turned into the 360 or VR experience there. So it's a bit like a teleport, just like you're in the experience.
Gotcha.
With a little hub.
I gotcha. Okay.
You know, I will say though, while the instancing and like it wasn't designed to hold that many people and all that, the spaces that people are creating right now are really, really, really cool. Like I got to go to the Burning Man space, the one that everybody went to Burning Man in this year, and like it was huge. Yeah, like freaking huge. Like huge, like camping area, like all these exhibits and things that are like, and portals inside all of them that go to different places. Like huge, truly epic, really badass. Like the convention space that we were in, awesome. The speaker space that we were in, it was like this huge, great stage with a huge image in the back with all of our pictures on it, and like, you know, rised auditorium style seating that everybody was in, and like we're getting there, dude. We are really getting there.
We are. I'm excited.
I just have a question for both of you though, just linking to like events and the like. I discussed it with a friend. If in the end I still want to network, and I don't think I can network well enough in virtual reality. I still want to meet people face to face. So there will always be that component. And I just don't think physical events would ever go away because we all want to meet our friends, right?
Mm-hmm. We do. We want to meet our friends. And like you said earlier, too, we want to try the technology. You want to put that shit on your face. You want to see what it's like. You want to feel the materials that they use. You know, I mean, that's a hard thing to do virtually. But there are platforms up and coming, you know, that use photos of you to make it look pretty realistic. You know, there are up and coming technologies that you track your facial expressions well. And as those things get better and better, I think it's going to be easier to network, right? Because networking is about talking to that person, connecting with them, seeing their facial expressions as you say things to them, vice versa. There's a lot of you know, connection, energetic connection that's happening with these people. You're forming bonds and relationships.
And this came up multiple times during my conversations while I was in Altspace, because there are like, you can feel social awkwardness when you're in social VR. Like you can see a group, like imagine you see a group of people talking and you're like, oh, like, can I get in on this circle? Like, let me nudge up, and you like slowly approach, you see if somebody acknowledges you, you know, like there is actually an exchange of energy that is happening. Like we are exchanging energy across space and time using simply visual and audio input. You know, I guess if you add haptics to the mix, it could make it better, or maybe some of the other senses too. But at the end of the day, it's really visual audio that is all we need to actually experience that transfer of energy. And you can feel it shift from social awkwardness to comfort as you start to embrace each other, you know. And then I sat there and had conversations with these people, and before you know it, we're talking about hallucinogenic experience and, you know, you know, everything pushing into oneness. And I'm like, dude, my people are everywhere, you know? So there is a lot happening, you know, and I felt an exchange of energy this week in a convention that reminded me of the exchange of energy that I experience when I meet people face to face at these things.
So there is to a point, you know, like a lot of the stuff we're talking about today, it's getting there. right? You can see the potential right now. You can feel the potential right now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this stuff, we can see the shortcomings of it, but we can see how it's going to start to transform things.
But to your point, Tom, it is like it's through like a filter, you know, like the energy that is being exchanged comes through filtered and not as pure, maybe cut with like some baking soda or something, you know, like it's just not exactly the same thing as if I see you face to face and I embrace you and we hug it out. Like there's like a lot that's happening in that like real physical skin to skin contact. Like there's nothing in the way of our exchange, you know, except
for clothing usually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, take me out to dinner first, baby. We'll see what happens, you know, but to your point, I don't think it's going to go away because even though I meet people in VR and I have an exchange of energy with them, I'm still like, well, I still can't wait to meet you in real life, dude. You know, so
yeah, exactly.
It's not. It's not a replacement.
Yeah, well, I mean, virtual events will stay around after the pandemic anyway, purely because it's proven to be a revenue stream for the events companies. Why not just add on another virtual element for extra money? So will be a mainstay from now on.
What else you got for us, Skiba?
Oh man, I got all kinds of good stuff. You know, one of the things that came out, I think it was just before CES started, was, and again, it's more speculative stuff, but Samsung, there was some patents that came through about Samsung's new controllers for this new headset that no one knows a whole lot about.
They look a bit weird, don't they?
They do. You know, the controllers could go either way. I feel like they look pretty cool.
It's like your hand goes through the ring, right?
Right, yeah. So that could be an issue. It could not. You know, the thing that looks super weird to me is the actual headset itself. I mean, when I look at this, I see, you know, The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. You know,
it's such a great. I don't know if I should say it's a great movie, but
it's a cool movie. It is,
like
but this is a very strange design for this headset, and I'm wondering. You know, there's a lot of curves involved with this headset, and I'm wondering if they have found some kind of technology. You know, just the other day on Twitter, I shared a post saying that. That foldable smartphones now have some competition because LG started showing off their rollable screens, where the screen rolls out and it becomes one big tablet. And so, you know, obviously these screens have no problem flexing now, right? So instead of using lenses that will bend the image around to make it look natural to your eye, why not bend the screen, right? And it kind of looks like what's happening here. I mean, again, I don't know. I haven't put this thing on. I'm just looking at it.
So you know what my thought was when I saw this thing? And then I'll have Tom tell us what his thoughts are because mine aren't very deep. I see this and I saw it was a controller patent.
Yeah.
And then I see this whack headset like sitting there. It's not a patent for the headset. It's a patent for the controller. I think they might have just thrown something in there.
Well, but the patent for the headset came out a while ago.
And that's what it actually fucking looks like.
That's what all the patents show. You know, this right here, this is a digital rendering of what someone thought that patent drawing would look like rendered in 3D.
But are they patenting?
But the drawing itself does show a lot of these shapes.
I feel you.
And yeah.
Does the casing get patented, right? Like, isn't that like the outer edge of the headset? You know, like couldn't those things maybe like couldn't it look different?
Oh,
but
sure.
The guts still be the same.
Of course. When you look at the PlayStation patents, the headset doesn't really look.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah. It's like almost. I'm probably wrong, but it clicked in my head for a second when I saw this shit. I was like, oh man, they just made this thing look fucking weird because they knew it would be fun and because they knew people would share the shit out of it. Because what the hell is that?
Yeah, it's
weird. And like then when
looking.
the headset actually comes out, it probably won't look so ridiculous. I'm probably wrong. What do you think, Tom?
It's very difficult for me to speculate based on some images of controllers and no confirmations from Samsung. Knowing Samsung, what it's going to be, it's going to be super slick, fit in with the Samsung ecosystem of other home devices, and it's probably going to be focused more on using it at home to watch movies and sports. As a prediction, the only reason I predict that is just because Samsung is doubling down the home strategy. We don't know. This is all speculation, and we just have to see what Samsung does.
And Onikaze says, let's see if Skiba can fit his hands through the ring.
Yeah, right?
Isn't too wide.
We'll find out, man.
Yeah, dude.
I'd love to give this thing a try, and one of these days I will. I will find it, and I will try it. But I mean, it looks like a combination of the index controllers and maybe the original OG touch controllers. I mean, it's an interesting design, and why not have the tracking ring going around your arm, right? It's also another possibility of not dropping or smashing these controllers.
Well, that's what I imagine
So.
is like, it's like the wall space. Like it gives you those couple of inches back, because if I hold the controller, it like sticks up and out, and it's like out and around like this. But if we take that and position it back here, then I can get as close as my knuckles before something makes contact with the wall, as opposed to me like bringing my.
And if you drop
ring
it, maybe that
down.
tracking ring will keep it from flying across the room.
Right? Yeah, like slipping out of your hand, it will like dangle on your wrist or something instead.
And we know that Samsung knows how to make headsets, right? I mean, first of all, they make a lot of the displays that go into the headsets that we use. And they're a screen company, right? They do a great job with screens. Second of all, they've had 2 Samsung Odyssey headsets come out that were very high praised. Besides the fact that they used Windows Mixed Reality and the tracking that goes along with that, and the controllers that were designed by Microsoft. Now, they did tweak them a little bit for their version. They're the only company that did, but it shows they care. You know what I mean? Right. They make good products. The clarity of the original Odyssey headsets, both of them are absolutely great. They're fantastic.
I fucking popped the lenses out of a $5 Samsung Gear and put them into my fucking $1,000 Vive Pro.
And made it better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Like, what?
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
These guys know what they're doing, man. They're no joke. They're no joke. And they're a powerhouse when it comes to having funds and having production lines to be able to get this stuff put out. They have a lot of relationships with a lot of distributors and manufacturers. And, Samsung, man, they're the real deal.
What's your daily driver, Tom?
My daily driver, it's going to be the Oculus Quest 2. I was looking at review units sent by Facebook, but I need to send that back at some point next week, and then I'll actually have to buy my own one. And then when I do buy my own one, that'll just continue to be my daily driver. It's just a nice headset, super easy to use, and I don't see any reason why I shouldn't use anything else apart from PC based.
Do you have accessories on it, like the strap or VR cover or any of that stuff?
No, I've been using the OG strap, but yes, I have seen the other stories about the older strap, and I have to. I may invest in like the better one at some point. When it comes to other setups as well, apart from that, I don't know. I exercise a little bit in it by doing lots of different things. So I think I still put on Beat Saber once. I'm sorry to be. I sound so basic, don't I? I play Beat Saber on my Quest 2.
If it was any less fucking good, I would give you a hard time. But Beat Saber is a way of life, dude.
Game.
It is way too good. And I will be a forever Beat Saber fan. Yeah. To me, it's the Mario of virtual reality.
And as far as the hardware that goes into the Quest 2 and the way they've perfected the tracking, the inside out tracking, I mean, it is by far the best inside out tracking of any HMD that I've ever tried.
You go hard. I mean, Expert Plus, you are ripping those controllers around.
You are, and they used Beat Saber. John Carmack said he used Beat Saber to really dial in the tracking. So, I mean, it's hard to argue with that headset, man. I mean, especially when I have a Valve Index sitting at home, and 90% of the time I'm in my Quest 2. It's not because I don't have anything else. It's because it's a good headset. I mean, the hardware is fantastic, and there's no friction. A lot less friction than anything else. Which is
I do have a question for both you guys, actually. So we had the Oculus Quest release 2 years ago, and we had the Oculus Quest 2 launched last year. Is it too fast? Should Facebook skip a year this year and just not release a 3? Or should they just do it like next year to release a updated edition? Is it too fast? Like, what do you think?
I think that's a great question. It felt fast to me, but it was way better. if it was like a side grade, you know, like I feel like Nintendo does this a lot where they like will release you know, like the DS, and then like the DSi comes out and it has like a camera added to it, and then like the XL comes out and it just has bigger screens. Like they call that like the DS family, you know, like the 3DS family. So like which of the 3DS family do you have, you know, like which one works best for you? And like I feel like they do a better job of like positioning them as like alternatives to each other rather than like direct upgrades. So because it's been positioned as a direct upgrade, I feel like that's what like hurts people.
Because they put the number on the end.
Right. And they're like, motherfucker, I just got the Quest 1. Now I have to get the Quest 2. Like that's like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. Like that's a huge difference between a PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2. So that like following that logic, people feel like their investment has now been like wasted. You know, like they should have invested that money into the other headset or waited before they invested to get the Quest 2. So that I feel like will cause people to maybe be apprehensive to like upgrade quickly or to like buy the next one because they are afraid that in 6 months one with twice the resolution is going to come out. I think if Facebook did maybe trying to reposition it as like a choice, like which do you choose, you know, rather than like 64 or 256, it's like, you know, X hertz, Y RAM, X resolution. This is for competitors, and then X resolution. This is for you know, casualers or whatever. You know, like make it an option rather than like a direct thing. And I think they would have more success. So, you know, if a Quest 3 was coming out next week, I'd be like, motherfucker. I would be like, dude, are you kidding me? Like,
so it was, I believe it was a year, just about a year and a half from Quest 1 to the Quest 2. My initial feeling on this was that the Quest 1 was them dipping their toes in the water. Will this be successful? Is this really what people want? Is this something that we should consider mass producing, or should we stick with the Rift, right? And then when they had the success of the Quest, instead of producing more, they flipped around and they said, okay, people want this. Now we know this is gonna take off. So they went through and they refined their production by making it all plastic. It's easier to make. It's cheaper to make. You know, they really decided, okay, we're gonna take the success of this product and we're gonna make it a real thing now, something that everyone can buy. So in that standpoint, I don't see them releasing a new Quest every year. I feel like the first one was just a trial to see if it was going to be successful. Now, I could be completely wrong, and maybe every year they'll come out with a new one. But like you said, you know, you can't, it doesn't make sense to me. You either look at this like a cell phone product or you don't. Cell phone companies make a new phone every year and people, you know, decide they're going to buy them. But this is different. They're positioning themselves in a console market, right? And you can't put out a new console every year because people expect a generational boost of graphics and performance that they're not going to get, frankly, right?
Well,
I mean, they're going to get...
gamers do. I was going to say, the gamers expect a generational shift, but what about the families at home who just want to play with a headset?
Well, then you got the haves and the have-nots. You know, you're gonna have Aunt May over here sitting in big screen going, well, I have the Quest 1, and then Johnny's gonna have the Quest 3. You know, oh well, you can't use this kind of popcorn because you have a slower headset. Like it's really hard to cut your consumer base up like that when the consumer base is so small compared to other markets. You can't make people think that they got screwed because they trusted in this company to go and buy this product. I mean, it's not $10, you know what I mean? Even though they cut the price of the headset down to $300, it's still $300. Mm-hmm. It still takes you a decent amount of time to earn $300, and there's a lot of hard work that gets put into that. So it's hard to take a niche market right now and say every year we're gonna make everyone that already bought this headset feel like they're no longer in the current, you know.
What do you think, Tom?
No, I completely agree. I think it's just a case of whenever Facebook has an innovation to unveil, they'll do it. I mean, for certain, if they have an innovation that makes the headset cheaper, then they're going to take it and release that headset, because the VR headset market is price elastic, at least from the consumer standpoint. So the cheaper the headset is, then the more likely it is that people will buy it. proven by the sales of the Oculus Go in 2019, I believe. It's like £150, £175 is the sweet point. To the point where I actually outsold the Oculus Quest in 2019 Christmas on Amazon. So it just shows to me that no matter how knowledgeable we are or how knowledgeable you are, price is still the key differentiator. Still,
it is.
And that fucking Christmas thing, dude. I got a bone to pick with them about that.
That was pretty
because
toxic.
that was they put that thing on sale the year that the Quest came out, where there's a lot of buzz. And I mean they reduced the price.
Name, yeah.
They reduced the price. I shouldn't say they put it on sale. They reduced the price of the Go on Amazon around Christmas time, the same year that the Quest came out. And people aren't calling this shit the Quest. We're calling it the Quest, but Aunt May is calling it the Oculus. So she goes over she goes over to her nephew's house, and he has an Oculus. And it's the Quest, and she tries it, and she's like, oh my God, Oculus, this is so cool. And then goes on Amazon and sees the Oculus for $199. So she fucking buys it. Like, so many aunts, moms, grandmas, brothers, sisters, parents, like family members who knew that their kid liked Oculus or their friend liked Oculus probably scooped that thing up thinking that they were doing them a favor.
You're totally right, because I'll tell you, I know some examples here. So back when the Rift came out and the touch controllers came out, I had this shit set up in my basement. I had 4 trackers, and I would demo everyone that came over pretty much and blow their mind, right? And some people would say this to me. Some people would go, oh, this is an Oculus headset? I have one of these. I didn't know this was awesome. And I'd be like, what do you mean you have one of these? And they'd be like, I have one. I put my phone in it. It says Oculus right on the side. And they're like, I can go and play these games. This is incredible. And it's like, no, wait a minute, dude. Just because it says Oculus on the side doesn't mean this is even close to the same product. And so when the Quest was getting big and they saw in Oculus or Facebook saw the growth and the potential of this headset, they said, okay, we got to clear all the Go's out of here. No one wants 3DOF.
Yeah.
Right? So put this shit on sale, make it really cheap, and get them the hell out of the warehouses.
And I think a lot of people bought it thinking they were getting a Quest.
Yeah.
I really do.
I think so too. I think they screwed people. I
think so.
I think they poisoned the well a little bit with that one.
Which, is good and bad, I guess, right? Because it's good because they made a bunch of money, and it's bad because a bunch of people out there got the wrong idea about what VR can offer.
Yeah, true. And
I think that. Sorry, I want to very quick say the only point I want to make is it's what we want is not necessarily what the general public wants or anime wants. So I mean, we care about resolution and tracking and the like, but May doesn't, as you say. So the fact that. And I still think the fact that she would care the most about is price. And what sucks also is the blending of definitions of VR, because people tried a ton of smartphone experiences or gear experiences and think they tried VR when they tried a very, I would say, just a weaker version of it compared to what the headsets can offer. And that reputational damage is something we still have to fix today.
It's hard to address. Because like public perception or whatever you want to call it, or like the primary perception of the stuff, like there's no way to like talk someone through that. Like the only way to do it is to demo them. Like, and it's only after they have the experience, like my dad last year at CES, he was there for the automotive industry. We bumped into each other. So we hung out for a little bit, and I put him into Beat Saber, and he got it. Like, I'd been in VR for a while. Like, I've been doing VR shit for a while. I was at fucking CES for the VR stuff, and he had still not had like a real VR experience. And I put him in the Quest in Vegas, and he went home and bought that shit and told his wife, and his wife is like, we're not getting that. Like, what are you doing? Like $300? Like, we're never going to use that thing. And
that was before the Quest 2, so it was like 400 or 500, right?
And guess what? She puts it on, and now they both are just like Beat Saber fanatics, and they play all the time, and it's so great, But it's only because someone who they trusted was like cutting through all the bullshit, and they were like, shut the fuck up and put it on.
Put it on your face.
Yep. That's the only way. That is the only way to do it. So, I mean, the Quest is doing that right now, I think.
It is. It's doing good stuff.
My dad went home and he bought it and he got his wife to try it, and then they invited over Aunt Stacy and her husband Mark, and guess who now have quests? Them. Oh, here are all the neighbors. Boom, 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 boom. My dad has a whole little community of VR players that are all of his friends and family that are his age, and they go in and play Topgolf and shit. So he alone.
That's wonderful, though.
It is so wonderful. And he didn't play games with me growing up. I like begged him to play games with me, and he was like, "No, I'm not doing this." Now he's 100% into it, and I think VR is the magic. I think it's the secret sauce that a lot of people are looking for, and now he has it personally infected with the VR disease, maybe fucking 10, 15 of his friends who will then go to their families, and I do see this like forest fire kind of thing starting right now.
Yeah. Well, and now if you look, there's an article from Road to VR that shows that the Oculus Quest 2 has surpassed the original Quest in monthly active users. So while this headset has only been out for, less than a third of the time, probably a quarter of the time that the original Quest is out, every month there's more people with the Quest 2 than there is with the
That's
with the original
because we all
Quest.
bought both.
This is true as well.
Well, not quite. But it might be that. It is partially that. There's some like absolute nerds like us who bought a new headset and had the money to do it as well. Not everyone does. But another aspect would also be when 90% of people who bought an Oculus Quest, the original Oculus Quest, were new to VR when they bought the Oculus Quest. Facebook hasn't yet announced what percentage of people who bought an Oculus Quest 2 was new to VR. If it's a ton, that's an amazing thing. If it's like similar to 90%, then that's it's massive growth. I just, if Facebook can actually unveil the numbers of how many they sell, that would be great, because they don't. And at some point, I hope they do.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have something that I'm really looking forward to in the Quest world, and that's a rare thing to say because I feel like most of the time we're complaining, but they are implementing a couple of features right now that they say will be available next month, and they work hand in hand. One of them is multiple user profiles on a Quest, and the other one is app sharing on the same device.
Oh, yeah.
So this is actually something that I really, really am looking forward to, because I have 2 quests here and I can't play Beat Saber with my fiance in a multiplayer match. I have 2 quests. Like, why can we not both wear one and do it? You know, it's because I need to be signed in on both of them, and I can't be using both headsets at the same time. So being able to have her sign in as her on my Quest 2 while I play on my Quest 1 will allow me to use both of my quests to do multiplayer gaming sessions in my house, and that is huge. Like, to me, that is something that should have been here a long time ago. Probably would have sold quests by now if that was integrated when they released it, because then people would start to see that, and maybe they'd build a whole little community of quests in their house, you know. But right as it stands there, be like, oh, I'd have to buy it and another copy and all this stuff, and that kind of turns people off. So I am personally very, very excited for these features, and I hope they work well and give me the experience that I'm looking for. Before, right, if you wanted to switch users, the only way to do so was to format your Quest, right? And to start it completely all over again, re-download all your games, lose all your saved game data, right? So there were 2 things when the Quest came out that people were bitching about. One was they wanted the ability to buy their kids and their nephews and all these people. They wanted to buy them games, and they couldn't. There was no Oculus gift certificates. There was no gifting system on the store. They took care of that, which is great. And the other one was, hey, I got 4 kids. I want them to be able to switch users. You know what I mean? Or I want to go in and I don't want their save game. I want to go in and play my own version of Vader Immortal or whatever it is, right? And that was another big one that people really had an issue with, and I completely agree. And I think it's fantastic that they are listening to some of these things. Now, Drew does bring up a good point, which I haven't mentioned yet, and he says that I will have to buy Beat Saber on her profile, because even if they allow that, 2 separate accounts can't be playing the same game simultaneously. So I will still have to buy Beat Saber in order for her to be able to play at the same time as me.
She needs her own copy.
Right. She does need her own copy, but now I can use both headsets as I wish.
I believe that's software specific, though.
It is. Well, there are some games that use
like Pro Putt and stuff like that. I believe you can be in there with the same account twice.
Anything that is hosted off of Oculus.
Right.
Anything that has like a room code to drop with the exception of Oculus exclusive content. So like I know like a lot of Resolution games, like all of their profile or all of their multiplayer lobbies are all joined by a code. So you could log in as you on 10 quests and all jump in and play Cookout together, which is awesome. But I need to do that.
I haven't even tried that game yet.
I haven't either.
I want to as well.
I really want to. They sent me like the merch kit and all that stuff, and I like talked about. I took pictures of my sandwiches for like a month and tagged them in it the whole time because my sandwiches are all like big and epic looking, you know.
See. I'm too much of a fat kid for that game. If I see that sandwich, man, I gotta go eat something.
I agree with you, and I want to do some cooking games in VR as well. That'll be quite fun. Very quickly, I want to address what Paradise Decay said today. Tom Fisk, they have sold a lot of Oculus Quest 2s. Yes, of course they have. They sold so many. But I just want to know how many, because it'll be good to know how many they produced, how much supply side issues did hold them back, and effectively what the plans are generally. Because Facebook hasn't actually announced core hard numbers at all for the original Quest or Quest 2, and it'll be just nice to know.
And I think it's kind of a smart thing in a way that they haven't, because we know being excited about this technology and being in it every day, that a lot of people are buying Quests, right? But they don't want the competitors to know. Right? They want the competitors to still go out and be wasting their time and money on making PC-only VR headsets while they dominate the market that they found is the successful business model of a mobile headset without needing a PC. And they know if they were to release those numbers, I think everyone still is. These companies aren't stupid. HTC knows, all these companies know that people want mobile VR. People don't want to have to use a PC. People don't want to spend $3,000 on a computer that can play Half-Life Alyx on decent settings. They want to put on a headset and they want to hit the button and they want to go. And that's it. They just want it to work.
Unless they're an enterprise company, in which case these headsets have qualities and aspects which is desirable for those companies, and they'll spend a lot of money for it.
Right.
Licknix has been hanging out. How you doing, dude? And your pal in VR just showed up, who has just crushed it in this past year. It's good to see you. Drew, it kind of brings it up again. I'm going to reiterate why it's important that this for me anyway, that this happens with the multiple accounts things, because I use both of my quests. I use my Quest 1 to work out in and sweat my dick off and play Beat Saber, and I use my Quest 2 to play Population 1, do social VR, and all of the things that don't get me perspiring. In order for me to share I have to be able to log out of one of them. I'm logged in on my Quest 1 and my Quest 2 as the primary user right now on both. So with the exception of the Resolution Games stuff, I would not be able to do this. If she can sign out as me on my Quest 2 and sign in as her, I will buy an extra copy of Beat Saber to make it happen. But that means that I can retain ownership of my Quest 1 and my Quest 2 and use them both the way I like to, while letting her join me on one of them. So it's not like the best solution, right? Because Xbox and PlayStation, their game sharing shit, it's like highway robbery, or like Steam. You can share your library with me on Steam or Xbox or PlayStation, and I can just go in there. We can even play, I'm not on Steam, but on Xbox and PlayStation, you can play those games together. I've done game sharing with a buddy of mine forever on our Xbox and our PlayStation. And anytime one of us buys the game, the other one gets it. We both log in together and we have a great time.
Nice.
Oculus is not doing that. We're making that clear now, but it is still necessary to do this in order for me to maintain ownership of both of my headsets and allow someone else to join me. So I hope that clears it up.
Yeah, I mean, people have multiple kids. People have multiple family members. This is something that has to happen for sure, and I'm glad it is. So, for sure. Real quick, something that I wanted to bring up real quick, just because I'm a huge fan here, is I love Rick and Morty, right? Big fan of Rick and Morty, man. I feel like it's really smart, dumb humor. You know what I mean? It's really good stuff. And now you can go into big screen and you can watch Rick and Morty for free on their free channel stuff. So just for anyone that didn't know that may want to go through and start checking out some Rick and Morty, it's there for you guys.
So
hop
they just
in and
have
check
like
it
a
out.
room that just plays Rick and Morty 24/7?
Yep.
That's amazing.
It's awesome. It's so awesome. They got so much good TV in there. You know, they really do. I mean, you can hop in and you can watch all kinds of good stuff, not including the user created rooms and what people are showing in there. I mean, but just to have a channel that's constantly playing Rick and Morty, I mean, that's all I need.
Dude, I bought a small stack of 3D Blu-rays with the intention of hosting a room and watching some of them in there. Because like I saw the quality of the videos that Big Screen puts out, and it's fucking amazing. Yeah. So it's like if I could put the Blu-ray DVD in my computer and load that up, like I imagine that we could probably have a viewing party and watch that baby in 3D.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really want to do that. I bought a stack of DVDs to do that. We need to make that happen.
Let's do it. Maybe we can have like a Between Realities meetup where we, movie meetup where we can all get together and watch something.
I would love that.
There's a lot of possibilities now.
Yeah.
So
just, find the time to do some of this.
Time is everything. Once VR can bring us all time.
Right.
There we go.
I agree.
Well, I'm looking forward to teaming up with Tom in some cookout here in the future.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like after this conversation, it just kind of has to happen. Like we should probably all get in there, sling some sandwiches, and do a little bit more multiplayer.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be hitting you up for that at some point, Tom.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, in real life, I've been making lots of bao buns recently. This is really fun to make. But in virtual reality, I can try and make it all. It's quite fun. I find cooking is quite relaxing, especially baking. Baking is just nice to relax with sometimes.
Yeah, baking, it does, like, it's definitely different than, like, being on a saute and, like, everything's like you, like, mix it, you put it together, you fill the space, you watch it take shape, then you put it in the oven and just watch it grow the whole time. There's definitely some cooking where it's, like adding cream as you're stirring and, like, turning on the shit, It's, like, it can be stressful.
The best thing about VR food, man, is there's no calories, so...
Gamertag VR in the chat. Hey, welcome to the channel, sir. He wants to know, what is VR, boys?
What is VR? VR, look around. This is VR. I don't know. I think it is.
Oh, man. Well...
Thank you for the great insights, Gamertag.
So I feel like we're starting to wrap it up here. Tom, is there something that kind of like needs a little bit of attention or something that you wanted to mention that we haven't gotten to?
Can we talk about the Taco Bell using augmented reality to put their CEO as a potato to make a key announcement as a potato?
Yeah, let's talk about
really
that.
Weird. I think that's really weird.
So tell us what happened, because this is the first.
So what happened was Taco Bell yesterday. I find this so funny because I talk to augmented reality agencies and VR agencies all the time going, oh, we need to use immersive tech in a meaningful, non-gimmicky way. And we should use the technology responsibly to make an impact. Taco Bell goes, fuck it, let's put the CEO as a potato using augmented reality and make a really big announcement. And they decided to post it on like social media. And
wow.
Now, it's a question for both of you. Do you think this is secretly genius as a way to get engagement on Twitter, or do you think it's really dumb and it's just stupid?
I see this landing in the middle because it is dumb and it is stupid, but it also is smart and it is an AR application. It's kind of sad, like face filters are absolutely hands down the number one like use application of AR. I feel like people use camera filters way more than any other form of augmented reality. So I don't really think that they did that thinking about technology at all. They were like, hey, look, here's the stupid face thing that everybody does that's really popular. Let's just make a commercial. And like somebody threw it out and like all the shit on the board, that's the one that they landed on, So I don't think that this has anything to do with us. It's just like a company like jumping on something that was popular and like, getting creative with their advertising, but I don't know if it's going to help as a push for AR or anything like that.
No, it's definitely not that. It's definitely not going to help us to push for AR. And I would say is like, when it comes to technology, it's like discussing VR and AR, it's more about how it's used rather than pushing it as an industry. Unless you're talking about gaming.
So yes, in that case, it's fucking stupid.
Well, so the missing part of this story is that a little while ago, Taco Bell got rid of potatoes off their menu. And a lot of people are like, where are the goddamn potatoes? I want the potatoes back. And I think that's why, they obviously went through and they're like, we're bringing potatoes back. And the guy's a potato. So like, that's kind of the missing part of the story. But at the same time, I think it's funny. I think it's funny. I think it's funny to show the CEO of a big company like that as a potato. I don't know. It's 2021. Why not? Make you into a potato just because we can.
Yeah. Yeah, but to your point, Tom, it is almost like a tragedy, that like AR is like such a potentially profound technology, yet we just see people turning themselves into potatoes instead of like doing something legit with it.
I find it interesting as a case study, and I will be writing a little bit about it next week. I actually just secretly think it's genius purely because the novelty value meant it spread quite widely on the Twitter sphere. So arguably it was actually quite clever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about it.
Yeah, it goes to show you how big this technology is getting. You know what I mean? If it's
it also shows how like if you have a really dumb idea that will spread fast, and AR can help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really, what did it cost them to do this? Probably nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like they didn't have to render out some potato and do the graphics and pay some graphics company, some CGI company to go and make this. No, they got a Snapchat filter and they made a commercial. It's pretty funny.
Apparently VR is more popular than Taco Bell because gamertag has never been to one.
Jeez.
Oh.
I know. That's I thought that it was like a rite of passage.
Well, good. Well, gamertag is also a fit guy. He cares a lot about his health. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't surprise me that he's never been to Taco Bell.
Mepper says that they haven't been to a fast food joint in 2 years, and I'm right there with you, dude. It's been longer than 2 years for me. I'm like not perfect, right? Like I give money to companies that do fucked up shit, but just it's like a personal thing. It's like I just drew the line in the sand. I was just like, no, never
fast
again.
Food.
Yeah, fuck your fast food, fuck your KFC, fuck your Taco Bell, fuck your McDonald's, fuck your Burger King.
Well, it's funny because you think like if you bought like a really expensive car, you went out and bought a McLaren F-150 or whatever, F-150, that's a Ford. But I'm not a car guy. But if you went out and spent $1 million on a car, would you put the cheapest possible fuel in it all the time?
Yeah, right.
No, man, you can take care of that shit. Take care of your bodies, people. It's the only one you got. So.
Yeah, but it just tastes so good.
It does taste good.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna. It tastes good.
I'm the kind of person who would eat a pack of sharing McNuggets by myself. That's the kind of person I am when that happens.
Yeah, me too.
But do you guys know anything about fast food in the UK? Do you know of any like joints only in the UK? Or it's fair enough. What we have in the UK is we have McDonald's and Burger King. I like the new Burger King logo, actually. It's quite fun. We only have Taco Bell's really in London. That's only where they really exist because it's a very American chain. People love Domino's in the UK, so they order out Domino's where they can. Same with Pizza Hut, funny enough. Yeah, I know. It's a different culture.
I hate Domino's. A lot of people eat it here too.
I used to like Domino's. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's no comparison between that and like going to a place in New York City and grabbing some pie. It's totally different food, man. It's totally different food.
Not even close. All right, listen. Yeah. Fuck fast food. Don't eat it. Okay, Tom. It has been so awesome having you on our show. I imagine you're probably going to turn yourself into a potato pretty soon. So how do we subscribe and follow you so we don't miss that?
Well, I posted a link in the chat, but I posted a link to my newsletter. You could be one of 2,700 VR and AR professionals informed each week on what's relevant and what matters in the news. And I will do what I can to add a little bit of sense of humor in all your lives. To both the hosts, thank you for letting me join the discussion. It's a lot of fun. I would love to come back and I'd love to chat through again and talk about some weird shit that happens in the industry. Because there's a lot of weird shit that happens in the industry, and it's fun to talk about.
Well, I'll tell you what. That sounds like a plan.
Yep.
And how about next time we get real weird?
Ooh, go on. So should we just cook during, or what are we gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll maybe we'll do, maybe we'll like all take some hallucinogenics right before the show or something. I don't know. We'll figure out a way.
Maybe we'll do the podcast, all of us as potatoes, or as our favorite foods.
Yeah. Or we'll just dive down the rabbit hole because we love to do that here. We love to like really touch the fringe stuff. And now that we know that you can hang, we'll get into it next time.
Brilliant. It was nice to also see everyone as well.
Yes, thank you, Tom. Say goodbye to Tom Fisk, everyone. It has been great having you on the show, and you are just one of a bunch of awesome guests that we have planned for Season 3 of Between Realities.
We do. We almost have too many awesome guests.
We are booked all the way through June, people. We have guests booked all the way through June.
Yes.
And that is when we are taking our break. So you can look forward to having Between Realities Season 3 all the way through June, and we will stop before the 4th of July.
Yes. And Sunday, please tune in right here or in Alex VR's channel or in one of 24 different content creators who will be taking part in a tournament for Grapple Tournament, which is an amazing, amazing VR game that allows you to swing around like Spider-Man while fragging the hell out of your friends. And it is so much fun. I can't even friggin' handle it.
We all know you love Grapple Tournament.
I love it! Right? But tune in, man, because this is going to be good. There's going to be some prizes. The winner gets a custom head or face piece or whatever in the game. Winner gets $100. Plus we'll all be swinging around, shooting each other, calling each other names. It'll be fantastic. So you don't want to miss that.
Please join us a week from now where our guest Soul Fox Gaming, our friend and for some reason always competitor, will be joining us. And we are very excited to get into him because he is like a completely different style of content creator than we are. So I can't wait to see what happens when the two styles clash. Thank you guys all in the chat so much for being here. Thank you for your patience while we took forever as usual to get the show started, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye!